Good morning, everyone. This is Phil of the Phil Factor, and this is day number, well, not day number anymore. I'm going to have to say this is week 3 of the Unemployment Diaries. And apparently, in week 3 of the Unemployment Diaries, Phil does finger guns. Not sure where that came from? We're going to roll a bit. Because, in the immortal words of the inventor of finger guns, Isaac, there's never a bad time for finger guns, folks. I'm going to use them in my next job interview, in fact. Before I go any further, though, I want to say a big thank you to everybody that read and watched and shared my Unemployment Diaries blog posts already. It's been wonderful to talk to all of you. But there's been one question I've gotten from a lot of people. Phil, what about your ties? That's a good question. For those of you that don't follow me on other social media, you may not know that I've got an extensive tie collection with a lot of colorful and creative ties, and usually first thing in the morning before I leave for work, I share a picture of my tie. Well, the last 3 weeks, I haven't had very many opportunities to wear a tie, although I did have one video interview on the computer just like this, where I was talking, so of course I had to suit up. I put on a sport coat and a tie, naked from the waist down as usual. Maybe, you don't know. Anyway, to scrub that image from your mind, I'll show you some of my ties. This is one of my tie racks. Yes, plural. I have 5 tie racks that hold 24 ties each. So, you do the math on that because I'm not going to. But here is one of my favorite ties, Albert Einstein. I always figured if somebody looked at me and they thought Albert Einstein, that's never going to be a bad thing, right? Well, maybe not necessarily so. Apparently, in the 1950s, Albert Einstein was invited to a dinner party in Washington, D.C. And he ended up seated at the table next to Marilyn Monroe, who was probably there trolling for Kennedys. And at one point in the evening, Marilyn Monroe turned to Albert Einstein and she said, "You know, Albert, with your brains and my looks, if we had kids, they would be amazing." Albert calmly turned to Marilyn and he said, "Yes, but what if they had my looks and your brains?" Pretty funny, right? Good for a genius, but at the same time, kind of mean. I mean, Albert Einstein was brain-shaming Marilyn Monroe, right? Kind of a jerk. That's exactly the kind of thing I have time to think about since I've been out of work for 3 weeks. I wander around my empty house all by myself, talking to my dog and cat. And you know how sometimes you have those inside your head thoughts that are better best kept inside your head because if you said them aloud, people would think you're crazy or mean, right? Well, on my own in the house, I'm saying that stuff out loud every day. Doesn't hurt anybody's feelings. My cat and dog don't mind. But I'm worried that saying the inside my head thoughts aloud is going to become a habit that I won't be able to break. And it may slip out during maybe a job interview or when I'm new to the job, like it did one time, to avoid kind of going a little stir crazy being home all the time. I've decided to create a friend for myself. So like Tom Hanks in Castaway, I have got my own ball, although it's not Wilson. His name happens to be Franklin. And the other day when I was making, oh my God, Franklin! Franklin! Sorry about that. That's about as close as I get to Tom Hanks, mostly because of the restraining order. Thanks again for stopping by. Nice to see you, and I will talk to you soon.